Hello, everyone. Today we have our take on a Patriot Iron Lad build. I know that several people have covered a version of this. I know that Lambie Series tweeted out a version. I know that KM Best covered something about it. And I'm sure there are others that have touched on and really helped refine this deck list. And the one that we're covering today feels like the best of just everything that we're seeing in the meta and gives you ways to counter and counteract most of those plays. If you're seeing a lot of Dino, a lot of Hawk, you have the Super Scroll. Super Scroll has so much of value right now, and just all of the ongoing cards that are just being floated because Enchantress is not quite as common as what it was before. And so you can get a lot more surprise elements or surprise value from your Super Scroll plays. If you're seeing a lot of Kitty Pryde, a lot of Moon Zoo, a lot of Bounce, we have Wave to really restrict them on the last turn. That's not going to be an every single game type of card. Some decks don't care if they're only playing one card per turn, like an Electro Ramp, a Galactus list, a discard list. All of those do not mind if they're only playing one card. So on those, we would avoid playing the Wave, and we're going to prioritize our other cards instead. We have the Iron Lad that has so many phenomenal pulls. The only bad downside pull would be a Wasp, and even that's not terrible, because then you should be able to get the Patriot bonus, I believe, because it copies the text. I didn't actually ever pull Wasp in my playtesting, but that's how I imagine it would work. Everything else is phenomenal. If Iron Lad hits Mr. Sinister, it will give you one additional 6 power clone. If it hits Brood, that's 2 additional 6 power cards on the board. It's a Super Scroll, great value, Iron Man, Patriot, Blue Marvel. All of those allow us to split our ongoing cards, continue to have that increased presence, and with Iron Lad, we did actually drop the Mystique to be able to fit the rest of the cards in, because Mystique would be that one additional potential downside. And even though it's a 1 out of 12, if you're just looking at the entirety of the deck, and by the time you play him, it's a lot less likely, I would much rather have a guaranteed upside rather than taking that gamble on certain games so that I can snap more appropriately and I can snap more confidently, knowing a little bit better what kind of card Iron Lad is going to pull into. The rest of the deck is just kind of stacked with the standard Patriot style build. You'll notice that we did drop Ultron. Ultron, if it gets pulled by Iron Lad, can be really detrimental to your game plan. It not only gets you priority, but if the opponent has a Killmonger, you're in a really, really tough spot. And so the same reason we dropped the Mystique, we dropped the Ultron. We do have Onslaught, fantastic pull for your Iron Lad. Then you can then stack so much raw value into one lane if you don't anticipate a Rogue or an Enchantress coming down, or you can mitigate and split them up if needed. With the Dr. Doom, can go wide, and getting those extra Doom bots that are buffed up by just about everything that you have is fantastic. There wasn't a single match where I just felt like I didn't have a chance to win. And honestly, that feels really, really good. I would say the worst matchup is probably Galactus, because we only have the Debris play to try to counter that card. Even if Galactus comes down, we have a couple of ways to try to fight for that game. We could drop an Iron Man followed by maybe a Super Scroll. If we think they're going with the null play path, the Iron Man followed by the Onslaught is a huge amount of power, and we just have a decent amount of flexibility to follow up the Galactus play. Now, if it's Galactus Spider-Man, you retreat out, you take your licks where you can, but otherwise we have a fighting chance even if Galactus does go off. And so we're gonna go ahead and jump over into a couple of games before I ramble for too long. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for all of the continued support, all of the comments, all of the encouragement. It really helps me stay motivated, continue brewing, continue looking for additional builds, and taking inspiration from you guys to help build bigger and better decks. And so we're going to go ahead and jump over into a couple of games. I hope you guys enjoy. All right, first up we have Terry82 or B2. My eyes are really bad. I apologize, guys. The first location is the X Mansion, so we're going to get a random card there. Ooh, and the middle location turns into Bar Sinister. We could use that for sinister reasons. We could do a Patriot there. If they have any kind of ongoing abilities, we can use a Super Scroll there. We could do a Blue Marvel that buffs up everything by 4 each, including it buffs up the other Blue Marvels by 3, so they all become 6, which does become pretty formidable in that location. We could do Wave, but I think looking at the cards that they're running, this could be some kind of Flood style deck. We could do a Patriot, and then on turn 4, we can just drop Debris to fill up the rest of the locations besides Bar Sinister. And then as long as they didn't have a way to buff it up any further, we would be fine. Ooh, they get an Ebony Maw on the left lane, and we get Orca. We come out on the plus side of that drastically. What do we think they play this turn? I think they do a Shuri into the sewer system. They can't play for this lane anymore, so I think they do a Shuri here. For some reason, I'm thinking this is a Shuri deck. It could also be like a Professor X lockdown deck. But I think I am going to go with capping out the rest of the locations. No, they turn it into a storm. Perfectly fine. They won't be able to... Ooh. No, they won't be able to play really anything. Unless they have a way to clear those debris rocks, we should get a quick and easy retreat. And that's what I've been finding with this list, is that it oftentimes forces the opponent into just unplayable, unwinnable lines. Not necessarily with the quadruple debris. That's not very often that happens. But it usually puts them into tough situations, whether that be by using Wave to restrict a Zoo deck, by using Super Scroll to counter any like ongoing heavy decks, to counter the mirror matches. We just have a lot of flexibility in some of those tech cards and tech choices that allow us to more easily control locations. Oh, we do get the retreat. We will go ahead and take the 1 cube retreat. Let's go ahead and jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Katsu. First location is Miniaturized Lab, so we're going to go ahead and play our Mr. Sinister into that lane, hopefully grabbing initiative in the process. Not necessarily that this deck has to fight for it. We don't have any strong counter cards besides like a Debris to counter any kind of Galactus plays. But I do like the idea of having the lead in that location. Can't Play High gives us an Electro. We're not going to use that one. We're never going to touch that one. Debris becomes much less impactful in this game because she's not going to be able to reach into that third location, being the Miniaturized Lab. Just one of those interactions. I think we probably see a Kitty Pryde here. If we don't, then we completely cap them out of Fogwell's gym when they were hoping to do... Oh, I bet they were hoping to do like a Beast or something to bounce these back in, and now they're stuck with it. That is unfortunate. So using the deck tracker, let's look at what cards we have left in our deck for the Iron Lad. We have Super Scroll, probably not great besides the Quinjet, the Blue Marvel, the Onslaught, Wave, and Brood. All of those are honestly fantastic. I'm going to go Iron Lad. If it copies the Brood, that is, we're going to have 3 6-power cards in this middle location. Wave is also great. We can lock them down to 1 card per turn for the remainder of the game, going into turn 5, and then we'll just play Wave naturally on 6. We won't have any buff cards out on the board, but we can do a Doctor Doom to put power here and here. I think that should be enough for us to navigate this end game. I don't think we have to do anything fancy in this one. They do play a Devil Dino. Oof. That is a big resource. And we know that it was copied by the Moon Girl. Oh. If we had 1 additional power in Fogwell's kitchen, then we could win this one hands down, no question to ask, easily. But we don't. We're going to have to retreat. All right, next up we have La Schemia. The first location is Fogwell's gym, which normally whenever a new location comes out, there's a lot of like backlash, a lot of negativity. I don't think anybody's going to complain about Fogwell's gym. Like both players are getting double boosters. In my book, that's fantastic. So they play an Uatu right off the bat, which is so strange. This is the second person that I've seen run Uatu tonight. So I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea why they're running it. Los Diablo Space. Ooh, Los Diablo Space may destroy Fogwell's gym, which is not in anybody's favor. Let's go ahead and play Patriot just in case we end up doing Iron Lad next turn. It hits a Wave. We play Wave again. We're going to learn from our mistakes in the last game where we played Debris here. We're going to play Patriot to prioritize buffing up the cards that we will have on the board. So they drop a Storm. So it's not going to change Fogwell's gym. So they did us a solid and they changed this right location. We have some really good cards left in our deck for Iron Lad to hit. So we are going to go ahead and prioritize doing that. Now, we don't have any duplication cards. And by duplication cards, I mean like Brood or Mr. Sinister. I'm actually going to go ahead and drop the Wasp now. I know that it takes away our element of surprise, but just in case we get Wave here, I don't want to ruin the chance to play our Wasp, because then we would do Wave on the following turn, most likely to start restricting them. I think it would become very difficult. They do play a Spider-Man into Fogwell's gym. Part of me wants to play Iron Man. But the other part of me thinks that we need to skip here. Actually, no. If they did a Professor X lock in this lane, it's not going to be enough power. I'm going to go ahead and do Iron Man. They could use like a Gamora, knowing that we have to play here. But I think we're okay. The Green Goblin does get does get stuck in the pet mansion, so they're not going to be able to overcome this one. So do they play anything now? We get a little bit of additional reach here. We're going to put the Doctor Doom into the left lane. And it's just one of those decks that puts people in unwinnable spots. On the surface, it's just a Patriot deck, but it has so much more flexibility. They hit your Patriot with an Enchantress. You have the Super Scroll, Iron Man, Blue Marvel, sometimes Iron Lad as well to copy those ongoing abilities so that one Enchantress in one lane should not be enough to derail your entire game plan. We will go ahead and take the 1 cube retreat. Let's jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Slifer Dude 42. We're getting a lot of those. I think it's because I'm playing in off hours compared to what I normally do. And so a lot of times we have repeat people in the videos because I play during like the same time frame window. Like during the day, my times, like during the workday, I do a lot of brewing, a lot of testing, and sometimes recording in between meetings or during lunch. And since it's the weekend, I'm playing late at night once everybody else in my house has went to bed. And so we're seeing a lot of different players, which I think gives me a better perspective of just like the overall decks that you see. And it's kind of crazy how they vary from time frame or time zone to time zone. So they play Zabu right off the jump. We could copy that with Super Scroll. We don't really have any other 4-cost cards besides Iron Lad that we would want to play, so that's not our main goal for the Super Scroll. We can go ahead and play the Patriot. We do have Blue Marvel. We have Wave to lock them down on the last turn if we think they're going to flood, like if they're leaning really heavily into the Zabu. So if this is like the Hawk Dino and they want to do like a big burst on that last turn, maybe we can stop it. We also have Super Scroll that's going to be able to copy like a Dino, copy a Hawk, copy both of them, and hopefully put them in a really tough position in the process. I'm going to go ahead and do Super Scroll. I don't know that we necessarily need to. I thought about doing Debris, but I don't think it's going to be restrictive enough to really do much for them, other than giving us the ability to buff up the rocks with our Patriot. So in our deck still, oh my god, these are beautiful. The only bad pull would be like an Onslaught, and that's objectively not terrible either. We have the Wave, and I know their plan is to do something like a Black Bolt here. So I'm going to go ahead and play our Wasp this turn. We're going to go ahead and play it, get it onto the board. If this pulls Mr. Sinister, then we get a free 6 power card. Brood, 2 free 6 power cards. Dr. Doom, of course, we're going wide, and then Onslaught. We could partner that on the last turn with like a Blue Marvel or an Iron Man, but just in general, it's not the biggest power push. And so they do have the Black Bolt. They are looking to do the Stature plus the Hawk on the last turn. The Stature, the Hawk, and maybe something else. We do get the Brood top deck, and so we're going to have some massive power Broodlings. And then we can even lean in on the last turn and do something like another Brood Swordmaster. It's fine. It's odd, but I think it's fine. If we don't do the Brood, then we're just going to do like a Blue Marvel. So I think we're going to lock this in. I wouldn't be surprised if they retreated here. Oh, so the Stegron slaps our Wasp out of this location, which is fine. We have the Broodlings coming down. I think that should be enough to overpower this lane. I think. It'll be close, right? Wow, that resulted in a tie. We win the right lane by 20, so we win that by more than their deficit. But wow, the Stegron almost came in absolutely clutch for him. Luckily, we had the Brood. It was just enough reach, just enough power. I'm guessing they probably had Hawk, and they opted not to drop it because of our Super Scroll. So making that playline a little bit more clunky in the process, I think is always a benefit, and we don't always see that benefit. Let's go ahead and take the 2 cubes, jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have D-Money. The first location is Kamartaj. It's looking beautiful for something like Debris, something like Dr. Doom. They have a Kitty Pride, so maybe we look to do a wave on one of the turns on this game. I think that would be fantastic. We could do Mr. Sinister, but I think we wait. If we're planning on doing Dr. Doom, then honestly all we have to do is do something like Patriot on 4, a Wave on 5, a Dr. Doom on 6, all into Kamartaj, and I think we'd be able to just absolutely steal the win. Now, I am going to do Patriot into Camartage. It was a toss-up. I was back and forth, but I do think that's where we're going to play it. We are looking for a potential wave, depending on what we draw here. Brood. So we do know now that Iron Lad cannot copy any of our duplicating cards. So the Mr. Sinister, the Brood. That was going to be my only reservation to doing Iron Lad into Camartage. Otherwise, worst case scenario, we get a Debris, we clog up these lanes a little bit. Best case scenario, we get an Onslaught, an Iron Man, a Blue Marvel. As long as they don't have a way to, like an Enchantress, to destroy this lane, then we're perfectly fine. So the Uatu, they're running in Uatu. I know that we faced them in whenever I was brewing the deck. We did get the Onslaught. So we don't have Wave. We can't restrict them on the last turn. I think no matter how we play this one, it all comes down to if they have Enchantress or not. I'm going to do a Mr. Sinister into Fogwell's Gym. We can do Dr. Doom plus Wasp on the last turn into Vibranium Mines. Enchantress completely derails us. Ooh, Magic is interesting. They extend the game. What kind of... D-Money always runs something interesting. So I'm really curious what kind of interesting lines he has planned. All right, let's go ahead and do our Dr. Doom. And then we'll kind of go from there. They could change the limb location as well. If so, then we have some big resources already out on the board. Okay, so the Super Scroll copies our Onslaught, our Patriot. They do come down with Howard the Duck. So I'm wondering... They don't really have anything that benefits from that. We don't have something like a Blue Marvel out on the board. So they don't really get much benefit from the Super Scroll. And so we are able to encourage the retreat. All right, next up we have Nilov. Nilov. The first location is Necrotia. So we're not going to play our Wasp out early. There's no need to play it early. This deck just has... Wait, what is with everyone running Uatu? Did I miss something? I feel like I had to have missed something. Why are we running Uatu all of a sudden? No, D-Money was running it. We ran into one other person that was running Uatu as well. I feel like I'm getting trolled. Not me specifically, but people running Uatu. They're just farming boosters for him, I guess? We could do Wave to cheat out an Onslaught. We don't know what kind of deck they're running, so I'm gonna hold and wait. I don't want to give them too much additional power potential in Bar Sinister. Okay, Punisher is honestly fine. Super Scroll is decent against it. We could quadruple the Patriot, but I don't think that's ever really the right play to do. Blue Marvel is much more appropriate, because then it buffs up absolutely everything on the board. They snap into a spicy play in Bar Sinister, maybe? Okay. No, it's Mr. That's beautiful, guy. That is amazing. Because now all we have to do is play the Super Scroll into Bar Sinister, and we just win. Because, I mean, well, we win the middle location. We get the additional reach in the left and right like they already have. And I think we just do something like an Iron Man to bring it the rest of the way home, right? Go ahead and snap into it. The Iron Man should help us win this far right lane. The right lane. There's only 3 lanes. It should help us win the right location. I'm going to save Super Scroll to try to entice the opponent into staying as long as humanly possible. The Iron Man down is beautiful. Could they do, like, I don't know. Could they do something like an Onslaught as well? That would be the icing on the cake. That would be, like, the best thing I could ever ask for. An Onslaught right here. Be, like, perfection. What do they play over in the left lane? The Orca is huge, but not huge enough. My friend, this Bar Sinister is going to go wild with the Punisher, the Iron Man, all of the Mr. Fantastics. A casual 384 power, a casual 78 in the right lane, and then our tiny little Wasp, technically solo lanes and Orca. And so we will absolutely take the 8 cubes, and that is where we are going to go ahead and end the video. I have no idea what kind of decks we're running into, but we are going to enjoy it while we can. We will take the 8 cubes. This deck didn't feel like it was just unfavored in any matchup. Now, if they have an Enchantress, it can get a little bit dicey. You need to split your ongoing cards between your Patriot, your Iron Lad that maybe copies a Patriot, a Blue Marvel, your Iron Man. You need to split those up so that you can mitigate the downside from an Enchantress coming down. Super Scroll just has value in spades right now because a lot of people have stopped running him and ongoing cards have just started creeping back up into the meta. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to give it a like and a comment down below. I appreciate you guys so very much for being here, especially for the ones that made it all the way to the end. As always, this has been TLSG. Later, guys.